Hello, and welcome to Own Your Retirement. I'm Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial Incorporated. And if you'd like to learn more about what you hear today, please visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialinc.com. That is Kaizen, Kaizen, or call my office at 586 752 7008. And when you get on my website, don't forget to click on the podcast page and look for all of our past shows and also subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Play. Okay, today we have a special episode for everybody. This is the first time that we are going live impromptu in a sense where we're not having a specific topic and jumping on that. And I did all my homework for a week prior. Now we're just going to bring a special guest and we're going to talk about what she does in the industry. When I think about all my clients and how long I've been doing this, and 25 years in, I'm starting to see a lot of my older clients start getting into this stage of their health. And what are we going to do if physically, they should decline? Or what are we going to do if mentally or cognitively they should decline? And so these are big factors now, because what we're finding now is the big baby boomer generation, which is one of the largest generations we have, they are now in the first half of the generations all going into that stage in their lives. And there's a lot of confusion out there, a lot of misinformation and good information. So what we want to do today is clarify what is the steps? What should we be thinking about if you should be in that situation, or even if your parents and things like that are in that situation. So with me here, we have a special guest, and she's been in this industry for healthcare and the healthcare industry for over 25 years. I think she kind of knows what she's talking about all that time. And so I would love to introduce our special guest, Wendy Jones, who is the founder and does all of her podcasts and all that through what's called Next Steps for Seniors. It's a great organization here in Michigan. She helps a lot of folks find the right places, the right care too, because a lot of times we don't know what care we need, and we need someone just to like a maestro, so to speak. Okay. Someone who's going to organize and just make sure everything goes smooth and accordingly, and then also educate. Okay. So I want everyone to listen, and just this is going to be good stuff. But before we begin, I also have to still talk about my partner in crime co-host Tony Shore, who is here as well with us, and we're going to do a little bit of discussions between the three of us and get some information for all of you guys. So welcome everybody today on a wonderful Tuesday in August. Welcome, Wendy. I really appreciate you doing this. If you could go ahead and just give a little bit about yourself, your history, and then what you do today. Okay.
Well, first, I want to say thank you, both Albert and Tony, for having me on your program today. It is a privilege, and I love to educate families. That's one of our pillars at Next Steps for Seniors. And with that comes this exact same thing. So I appreciate the opportunity that you're giving me. I just want to start with, as we age, things start happening to our bodies, physically, sometimes mentally.
Hmm.
And when it happens, the first thing we have a tendency to do is kind of cover it up,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I'm fine. Everything's good. And then it gets to a point where you're like, maybe I'm not so fine. And when you get there, you start doing maybe a little bit of research and you're starting to think, well, maybe I should talk to my doctor, which we recommend. To having a primary care physician, a PCP, is very important in the process of aging. And honestly, it actually becomes like your new best friend.
Right.
Because
Right.
the more we age, the more doctors we have, and the more attention we need. But our goal at Next Steps for Seniors, and the reason I really started this company, is because there is a lot of information that goes along with aging that we just aren't prepared for. And honestly, nobody wants to talk about this stuff,
Right.
right? Because we all think we're going to live forever and we want to live forever, but the reality is we don't, right? We all are going to pass away someday.
Yes.
And so what I'd like to do is make it the process easier, right?
Mhm.
Let's embrace aging. Let's be knowledgeable about it. Let's be prepared for it. Let's not, all of a sudden something tragic happens, a loved one falls or they get diagnosed with cancer or they have Alzheimer's. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? So that's why we have this program, Next Steps for Seniors. And thank you for letting me talk about that for a second,
Sure.
because we want to educate people on it.
Yes.
So, what my company does, Next Steps for Seniors, it's here in Michigan, is when somebody calls our office, we do an intake process on, okay, what's your diagnosis? Where are you at currently? A lot of people call from the hospital, or they're in a rehab, or even they're concerned about their parents who are living at home. And they're like, I'm just exhausted. I'm bringing my mom and dad meals. I'm driving them everywhere. I can't do this anymore. Right. That's usually when they call us.
Hmm.
And we actually assign a placement specialist right to the family. And I call it like a concierge. That person is your person. You can ask them any questions.
Okay.
And once they get through the intake, they'll be able to say, okay, you can do maybe home care, because everybody wants to stay home.
Right.
And we're good with staying home. We want you to stay home as long as you're safe. And as long as you're eating healthy, and you're right. So we assign a placement specialist, and that placement specialist walks you through the steps, whether it's home care, whether it's going to a rehab or an assisted living, independent living, memory care. There's a lot of different options out there now. And people just aren't familiar. They all think they're going to a nursing home with the cinder block walls, with the curtain that's pulled. And that's not the case.
Right.
There's a lot of options
Hmm.
out there. So the company is really designed similar to real estate, right? You're going to go and look for a house. You're going to have a real estate broker. You're going to look for an assisted living. You're going to have a placement specialist at Next Steps for Seniors.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of how the model is set up. And the passion behind it, I have a team of 18
Nice.
people who just care. They have compassion. They love and want to support our families and our seniors during this difficult time.
That is so wonderful. So wonderful. So how do they find out about you guys though? Again, when you're going through all this, for example, my dad, he had a stroke last fall, and he's recovering really good, but it was a
Mm,
big full-blown stroke. He still can't move his right arm, so he's going to therapy and all that. We had to take him to a so to speak, a nursing home just for the first month so he could get
yep.
back to learning how to move and walk and all
Right.
this. But to be honest, I was clueless on when something happens just like that, all of a sudden,
It's
like,
so
what do
fast.
you do? Where do we bring them? What's the right place? What's the right
Mhm.
steps, I guess? So
Right.
talk to me about
Right.
that.
So and that's why I'm glad you're doing this program too, because you're getting the word out. If somebody goes through a situation, they can say, "Hey, wait a minute, there was a lady that was on Albert and Tony's
Yes.
show."
Yes.
And so a lot of the hospitals do have our number.
Okay.
And all the local ones here in Michigan to get a hold of us. But and the rehabs. But really, this is why we try to do this marketing and get our name out, because people don't know what to do.
Right.
And in a situation for a stroke, I don't know how many people know, and I'm not a physician, but the first 4 hours are the most critical time.
Yep.
And if you can get them 911, don't drive a stroke victim to the hospital, you call 911. And if they can get the proper IV medication within 4 hours, their recovery period significantly increases.
Hmm.
And once they're in the hospital, the key with Medicare, and then I just want to touch on this briefly. Obviously, if you're 65 and older, if you have you're in the hospital for 3 days, or 72 hours, your stay will include a rehab visit, which is what you did for 30 days, and Medicare will cover up to 20 days,
Hmm.
fully covered, and then there's a supplement or a copay after 20 days up to 100 days, depending on whether you have a Medigap supplement or what type of insurance. But the reality is those times are critical to they wanna get you back to baseline.
Hmm.
The goal is to rehab you as much as we possibly can so that in 20 days, you're as strong as you can be, and then they'll discharge you. And that's when you also call us. And the rehabs, most of them have Next Steps for Seniors. And then we will send someone in to meet with your loved one at the rehab, see how much they can and cannot do.
Gotcha.
If your dad couldn't walk, he couldn't go home,
Right.
right? Because there's no, I mean, but then we would say, "Okay, well, here's some options. These are people that can care for you, with at your current situation." So I really feel like knowing, the diagnosis, knowing that company like mine is available to you is the key thing, because we will take all those steps. I just talked to a family this morning on my way here that is making the decision to go on hospice.
Mm.
And they have so many questions, and they're like, Wendy, what do you think? How about this? Do I need to do this? Do we need to do that? And the whole family came together and they made a decision and they have peace about it because they had someone to talk to
Right, right.
and they understood what hospice meant. And that is what we do at Next Steps for Seniors. We want you to understand all the things that are available. It's your decision, but we want you to know all the options. Yes, you can go to a hospice company that will actually care for your loved one in a hospice place. You can go home. You can bring hospice into your home. You can go. So there's so many different things, but people just don't know.
Right. Knowledge is power. I mean, obviously, with you educating on these topics, and I
Mhm.
love educating my clients on all of this as well. And so for us, we can only do so much to provide that
Right.
knowledge there.
Right.
Give me a little history, I guess, if you will. What made you decide to get into this 25 years ago? Because
Mm,
this is a big step. It's a big
it is.
sector, industry, everything, and it's an ongoing changing industry. And so, give me why you decided. I needed to do this. I need to help these folks and make a big difference.
I have always had a great relationship with my great grandparents
Ah,
and my grandparents. And I was that 21-year-old girl in college following my grandpa in the car, going, "Oh my goodness, he should not be driving anymore." So it's innate. I don't know what
right.
to tell you except I've always, always, always loved our seniors. I think they're precious. They have so much knowledge, and they're vulnerable.
Hmm.
As we age, we're all gonna be there,
Right.
right? So why not wrap our arms around people? And after I was in the industry, I started in food service. I serviced food to all the hospitals and the rehabs. Then I went into pharmacy, did all the medications to all the nursing homes.
Hmm.
And after about, I would say 15 or so years, I was like, I want to help the people that are in these places.
Hmm.
I mean, I love that I can service these places, but these sweet people, and everyone started calling me, "Oh, where should I go?" Because 'Cause I've been in them all,
Yeah.
right? I knew
Yeah.
every hospital, I knew it, and they're like, they would just start calling me, and I thought after a minute, I thought, "Man, I should be doing this for a business
Right.
because we need to help these people." And,
Obviously,
the best part about our business too, 2 things I wanna mention. One is our services are free of charge.
that's really, really good.
You are not gonna get an hourly bill, you're not gonna get an invoice. It is everything we do is free of charge. And you're probably gonna ask me because I know you're a financial man, how do you do that, right?
Yes.
It's set up like real estate. It's set up like real estate. So, just like real estate, your broker helps you find a house at closing,
Hmm.
she gets a commission. Same thing.
So you're just making it off the
The community.
facilities and the
Yeah.
community there
That's
rather
it's the
than
same
the
concept. It's very simple, and that way the family is not overwhelmed and
yes,
stressed and
yes.
paying a bill. You just don't even have to worry about it. The other thing I wanna mention is these communities that I'm talking about, the assisted living, independent, memory care, residential group homes, they're all private pay. And this is why the most important decision when people call that we have to know their diagnosis, we have to know their care level, we need to know how much money they have.
Mhm.
And that's why I love talking with you and partnering with you guys because you help people prepare for the future financially.
Yes.
This
Well,
is what you do, and this is the key.
I
And
agree,
for long-term care, right? Yeah.
yeah, and
Yes.
and I agree on this. I mean, we just did a thing here beginning of the year, a whole campaign with our clients, and we called it the, elephant in the room, and, it's the idea that the hardest topics to discuss about the elephant in the room is your care and what's going to happen. No one wants to talk about your demise and what should
Nobody.
I do if you mentally go down. Should I keep you living for so long? What kind of care do you want? Do you want to be in home? All that. A lot of people don't want to talk about it until they're forced to talk about it. And so what we did as an initiative this year is we forced them to talk about it. We
I
created
love
this
it.
elephant in the room so all of my clients know that. And yes, those of you that are watching this podcast, you still owe me your list there that haven't done it yet. But we're doing this whole thing on putting your list. What are the wishes and goals that you want? And then we're setting this up, and then we're going to talk about, well, how do we get there? If you're there, what are the steps that you need to be doing so you understand what you have to do, not wait till the moment happens.
Right. Because when a stroke happens, you're
Mhm.
not like, oh, I'm going to have a stroke. I mean, it happens. It's like,
Right.
bam.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden you're in the hospital. The whole family's like, what are we doing?
Yep.
And you're setting your clients up. So they're going to be like, oh, let me just pull out my plan. Bam, bam, bam. I already know what I'm doing.
Well, what's even better, like, so what we did it with that, and then we stepped it up and said, okay, now that we know what your game plan is in case this happens physically or this happens mentally, now let's have a meeting with all of your children. And we do, and we have a Zoom meeting.
Love it.
And we go over not the financials, we go over what is your parents' action plan? What is it that they want done? And how do you guys understand every
And
step of
implement
that?
it. Right.
And once we do that and all the children get together and with the parents and we have this formalized plan, you can just tell by watching everyone's eyes and faces that the whole thing just falls off their shoulder like, you know what? That was the biggest thing. We wanted to talk to mom and dad about it, but we didn't know how to approach them. And mom and dad wants to figure it out too, but really they're just trying to think that we're invincible and we'll deal with it when it comes. And so but I'm a big planner as I am, and I tell all my clients the best plan is the one with the most options. And I think what you do is you create more options for these folks. So it's not just a one-way street and here's what we're stuck with.
Yep.
There are some other things. I love when you were talking with me when you did Wendy did a lunch and wisdom class for me, for my clients. And that's how I got to know her and introduce what she does as her company. And the one big thing that I like, it wasn't just all about, okay, nursing homes or even home care. You also talk about adult foster care to everything else. It's just about placing you in the right environment. And I think that's the key. A lot of folks just put people in the wrong environment because of financials. They want to keep it cheap, or they don't understand what their parents need.
Right, right. We have to really get to know that person.
Mhm.
And that's why the intake,
Mhm.
right? We want to ask questions about what is important to your mom, what is important to you, the children. You know, if I'm talking to someone and they're like, "Oh, my mom loves cards. All she does, she plays cards every single night. She plays pinochle and bridge." And why would I move her into a place where there's no card club? I
Right.
mean, it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense at all. I mean, it's so easy, but yet people aren't thinking of this stuff, right? I
Right.
know. I can tell you right now off the top of my head who has a swimming pool, who has card club, I mean, listen, if your mom swims every day, I know where she needs to go.
Yeah.
But nobody else knows this stuff. Our
Mhm.
team, we have 500 places. 500 in Michigan,
Nice. Wow.
just
Wow.
Southeast Michigan.
Mhm.
So how would you possibly Google is not the answer. I'm just
No.
gonna say that. We need to have someone who's been there, who knows how the food is. I mean, you talk to us about all these questions. I can listen to the story about your dad if he, let's say it was worse than it was, just
Mhm.
hypothetically. And I would be able to know in the top of my head right off the bat the top 3 places that would be best for him if he
Hmm.
Mhm.
needed to go to a community for care.
Nice.
I would know because I would understand your dad's personality. I
Yep.
would understand what he likes and doesn't like to do.
Mhm.
The worst thing that can happen is you can go online, you can look up a place and base it off a price or base it off of it's right by my house.
Yes.
Are you going to be there every day? If you're going to be there every day, okay, but
Right.
You know, and people, you guys, we go through this. It's just part of life, and it's going to eventually happen, whether it's severe, minimal, or anything in between. And a perfect example, and I'm just going to throw Tony in here. I mean, he just had to do all of this for his parents not too
Yeah.
long ago. He's been through all these processes. He could have
Yeah.
used someone like you next
I
step for
really
someone.
could have. When
And
I heard
so
about, I didn't know there was such a thing, a
yeah.
service available because it was tough. My mom and dad were by themselves on their farm where they had lived all their lives, and then my mom got Parkinson's, and when she went into late stage Parkinson's, she's been in long term care now for almost 3 years. We fortunately found a good facility, but it was tough, and it was harder for my dad to find assisted living for him and get him off the farm. And we thought about home health care, but we didn't know where to look or who to trust or how that would work. Is that just a quick question? I know you work with a lot of great facilities, Wendy. Is there, do you also help out if somebody wants in-home care?
Mhm. Absolutely. In fact, that's our first option. We always try to keep people home first as
Okay,
long as
that's good.
possible because that's where they're comfortable. That's where
Yeah,
they've been. They know where everything's at. The only issue and so to answer your question, yes, we have multiple companies that we vet, that we know well, that we know the pricing and on all that on them, and then we present those to the family, and the family makes the decision. We usually give everybody gets 3 options. Here's option A, here's option B, and then you call and say, "Okay, this is the one I'm gonna use."
sure.
So yes, home care, but I do wanna say this about home care, and I think it's important to understand the one thing that concerns me sometimes because people want to stay home so bad is if they're alone,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Their spouse has died. There's a lot of isolation and loneliness that goes on with being home.
sure.
So, can they talk on the phone every day? Do people come visit them? Are they getting socialization? I had a sweet lady that was living by herself because her husband passed away, and she was so lonely. Her mom called, or her daughter called me. I went and literally showed her this place. She moved in. Within 2 weeks, I went back to visit her. She had her hair done and her nails done, and she's like, "I got to go to card club. I got to go to book club. I got to," and she had a schedule. Her daughter couldn't even get a hold of her. She's like, "Mom, what are you doing?" She's like, "I'm having fun." I mean, she was living her best life. I'm
Mhm.
just being honest. Now,
Mhm.
a month earlier, she was so lonely,
Yeah.
she didn't even wanna cook a meal. She was depressed. A month later, the transformation in this woman's life was astronomical.
Yeah.
She
Oh,
was
I
a new person.
I believe it. I see it
So
with my
you just
clients.
have to know the situation enough to know what's best for them, and
Mhm.
everybody's different.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I just had a client recently where, lost his wife a few years ago and, very adamant. He's been involved with community, all of this, all his life. Was a boater, all just every little detail. Wonderful, wonderful person. And then one day, I would say just last year, he comes in for a meeting and he just wasn't him. He just seemed so down, so depressed, so just lonely. He lost his wife of 50 some years.
Mm,
And, a lot of times we don't think of it that, 50 some years,
a
if you
long
really
time.
think about how long you've had someone with you and now they're gone. And every day you're like in this void. So his children were a little concerned, and so, they had called me and talked to me, about his situation. So we had a nice conversation, and he decided, you know what? He's gonna go do this on his own, and he's gonna go find a facility, that would give him more interaction, and he knew that himself. And Imma tell you when he did, and he finally got the right place, and he says it's always just about the food. The food is always perfect. It's wonderful
A
food. That's
lot
why
of
he's
it has to
there.
do with food.
But I will say his nights of card playing, meeting people, all that. The last meeting we just had, night and day. He was so much
Yep.
happier, so much
Yeah.
alive again. Like it was the old him again.
But he did that too,
Yes,
though.
he
So
realized.
so, back to you, Tony, like, if your dad is quiet, shy, wouldn't really, knock on someone's door and say, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" Maybe he would be better at home with a caregiver and
Mhm.
comfortable and reading a book, or you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it really does depend on the person. I've seen people move into communities and sit in their room the whole time.
Yeah.
True.
And I'm
True.
like, that we defeated the whole point. You could sit home and do that.
Yeah. Yeah, my mother-in-law did that, and, they probably moved her out of her house too early. One sister thought, "Oh, mom fell a couple of times. We gotta get her into long-term care or a facility," and, she just stays in her room the whole time, and it's like she won't she's paying for meals and other things, and they have all these great amenities, and
She
she's
won't do
not
it.
participating, so, in-home care probably would have been better for her for at least a while, so
Little bit first, right.
yeah.
And I just encourage anyone listening to the program who is, a senior and is contemplating going to a community. I would say, step outside of your box and be prepared to meet people and try to meet people. Like,
Mhm.
be a
Yeah.
friend,
Mhm.
right? A friends ask questions, they're inquisitive. These people around you are going through the exact same thing you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? You're kinda in this together, right? And let's be
Right.
transparent. Let's have these conversations. And you actually might be surprised how your life could change and you actually could enjoy and
Yeah.
embrace this time instead of being fearful. A lot of people are fearful of it. We
Yeah.
don't need to be fearful, right?
Yeah. I mean, I teach all my clients there's 4 stages of retirement. And that stage, we call it the 4th stage, is the reflection stage. You know, a lot of people get into that moment, and sometimes you're reflecting on your past, your history, your legacy, everything you've done, and then what you used to be, and what you used to can do, and then you reflect on all that now, and you realize, okay, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. Sort of like me in my golf game. The older I get, the worse I'm going. I can't do this anymore, right? And so, but just really think about it beyond the golf, where it's your life. You know, as we age, I find the limitations that I find with my age as I get older. I can't do certain things I was 10 years ago. And we say, oh, okay, you know, I'm just getting old. But in true reality, that's the simple truth of it. I'm getting old. We're all getting
It
old.
happens to everybody. It's not a secret. We don't
Mhm.
need to keep a secret, everyone. It happens to all of us.
Exactly. And my thing is that it's all about knowledge. If you understand that we're aging, you understand that you're starting to decline, sort of like my client already knew ahead of time that he needed to do something for his own mental sake and the socialization, things like that. Not everyone is that fortunate to be in that situation cognitively and physically to diagnose themselves,
To make the
self-diagnose,
decision,
and make
right,
those
and do
decisions.
something about
They
it.
need someone like you and someone like your company that can step in, know all the what ifs that could be out there, and then talk about it, evaluate it, and then give them a beautiful assessment. That's what we do when we do a financial plan. It's never about, okay, where do we want to steer them here? No, no, it's about getting them all the options. What happens if you go this way, this way, this way, this way? And then we make sure it's in the parameters of what they talked about, what their dreams were. And now we're giving them all these different paths. And it doesn't have to be
Exactly.
one path forever, too. It could start with one
And it
path
can
and then it
change.
evolves to another path,
Yes.
just like you do with a lot of the folks. It could start
Yeah.
with like an in-home care, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden it progresses to where, okay, maybe now we need to get to a facility, things like that, huh?
Exactly, exactly. Things change. And that's the other thing. I feel like we sometimes get stuck, like you said,
Mhm.
and you just think, "Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm just gonna do this the rest of my life." Well,
Yep.
no, it's your decision. If you're like, "Hey, Albert, I think I need to make a change. I'd like to go to a community. What do you think?" You would say, "Call Wendy Jones,
Yeah.
and we'll find something, and this is the amount of money you have." You know, the average person, and this is probably good for you to know too. The average person, now, of course, there's people above average and below average. The average person stays in a community about 2 years.
Okay.
Okay. So think about that. And you want why? Because we're staying home longer,
Mhm.
as long as we possibly can. And so by the time we move, we've only got 2 years before we're on to our next heaven, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
So the reality is, you got to have enough money for a minimum of 2 years, and you're gonna say 10 years, which I agree, and you should have more. You don't wanna just have 2. But don't not do it because you're like, "Oh, I can't afford it." People panic when they get older because they're like, "What am I gonna do if I run out of money?"
You know, you're so right, but here's I think maybe a bigger point to this. Folks that are listening, don't worry about your kids. Don't worry about your grandkids. And you want to leave this legacy. Oh my gosh, I don't want to spend all of my assets for my care. If it wasn't for you and being who you are and having the family you did provide, they wouldn't be where they're at either. So think about everything there. They would want you to take care of yourself and live it at the best life that you can, and finish your whole legacy. Finish your whole adventure. That's the idea. Don't just give up. Don't just drop and say, I'm giving up and giving everything to my family. Oh, you want to know how many times I hear that?
I
And
can
I
only
think it's just
imagine.
terrible. And I'm like, let's put a plan together. Let's put things together so we know how we're going to pay for it, what's going to be left over, and then we can see what we can do for the children afterwards. But it's about them
But but
first.
don't you feel like the kids are like, It's okay, I don't need it, mom." You
9
st
out of
like,
10
there's
of
this.
the children say that exactly to me. Say,
Yes, I
Albert, we don't care about mom and dad's money. We don't need it. Let's do what we can to give them the best
best.
rest of what they're doing in the care and facility. So when I go visit them, they're happy. And here's the biggest part. It's not so much them having to visit or the money. You know what the biggest, I guess, for my clients that are taking care of their parents like that, the hardest thing for them?
What?
Time. Time. They got to
Yeah.
go and see mom every day and have to go, oh, Albert, I can't go to this client event, can't do this event, can't go to this education. Well, I got to go and pick up mom. or see her every
And
2 hours,
and
every 3 hours.
bringing food and making
Yes.
sure they get a shower and making sure they're doing all
Yes.
this stuff. Yes, no, I agree with you. You wanna be the son and the daughter. You don't wanna be the one getting all their meds set up and doing all that and making sure they, got dressed this morning and they ate breakfast. And that's why we need to put support
Mhm.
and the professionals around our seniors to take care of those needs so we can be the, "Hey, I'm gonna pick you up and take you to lunch today.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna come over and let's play a game of cards together." It's the quality time
Yes.
that we need with our loved ones. And guess what? That's what they want. They wanna sit and hold your hand. They want you there with them to have a conversation, to go to lunch. They don't want you doing all that other stuff.
Right.
And I'm gonna just say this, you can't take it with you. No one's gonna be throwing money in the casket. "Oh, wait, you didn't spend all
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
Put
You
it
can't
here,"
take it
because
with you.
you can't. So, enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree. I
And
agree.
be in a place that you like, that you enjoy, that you can make new friends and have great food. And I got tons of those places.
No, that's wonderful. That really is.
Oh.
Now, if you can share with our listeners on, and again, not to get precise, and you got to know all the factors and everything, but let's talk about a little bit of what the average cost would look like for
Mhm.
folks that, let's say, go into a adult foster care compared to in-home care compared to a full-blown
Okay.
nursing home.
Yep, let's talk about it. So, let's start with the home care because that's
Mhm.
our first step. We're gonna try to stay home as long as possible. Home care pre-COVID was reasonable. Home care post-COVID, lots of money.
Mhm.
So I would say average is between 32 and $35 an hour.
Okay. Wow.
Okay.
Mhm.
So they also have a minimum number of hours.
Mhm.
So it's usually 12 hours a week. I think people, if they're going to do home care, should usually do it like in the morning so you can get up, get dressed, like get a shower, get dressed, get food prepared. They'll make you maybe lunch and dinner and leave it for you,
Yep.
and then they move on. And then you're able to kind of get around through the house. So that's 32 to 34, and you could do 4 hours every morning, maybe something like that.
Okay.
Then the next step is independent living. Independent living is moving into an apartment basically with a bunch of other seniors, and they serve food. So people who are struggling with food, when you think of this,
Mhm.
um, and my parents are in this position right now, it's like, "Oh, we gotta make food again," and, and hygiene and food is a big deal as
Yes.
we age.
Yeah.
So if you are just exhausted by it, you move into a community, they give you this amazing menu, you order breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they deliver the food to your table. I mean, listen, it doesn't get any better. No cooking, no worry, no stress, and you're eating nutritious, good food. So that's in an independent living. You also have someone come and clean once a week. They have a shuttle bus. They take you. I had a couple the other day. They just went to the casino and back, and this little, all 10 people, and they had the time of their lives. So they have activities.
Mhm.
They have activities scheduled every day, exercises in the morning, blah, blah. I mean, it's fantastic. Independent living. And that's about, I'm gonna just say this, we have a place as least expensive as 19.95 a month
Hmm.
for all of that.
Wow.
3 meals, you can't even stay in a hotel.
No.
$100 a night minimum for a hotel, right?
Wow.
Think about it. So that's
Yeah.
3 grand,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get 3 meals a day and an apartment and activities and a shuttle bus for 19.95 a month.
That's not bad.
That's
No,
fantastic.
that's really good.
And
Yeah,
then
so
they
call
feel
me and I'll
they
fill
feel
you
like
in.
they're in the cruise ship all the
Right,
time
they're on a cruise
without the
ship, and it
seasickness.
goes all the way up. I'm gonna say the highest end place is probably 4,500 a month
Mm.
for independent.
Yeah.
So is that a big range? Of course, and you gotta be a little flexible on the location and that kind of thing, but it depends what you want
Right.
and what you
Right.
need, okay? Assisted living is usually about, I'd say, 5 to 8.
Okay.
5,000 is probably the least expensive, maybe 4,500. And we do have some lower income places, that will do it for probably maybe 3,500 a month.
Mhm.
But, obviously, if you have the funds, we want you to be somewhere that you're gonna enjoy.
Yes.
All these places are clean, and they have good care. So I would say that would be the average price for assisted living. Now you're gonna ask me the difference between independent and assisted. If you need constant assistance, if you need someone to help you get to the bathroom, if you need somebody to help you get in and out of bed, if you need somebody to, help you with your hygiene, shave, that type of stuff, that would be assisted living.
Okay.
Okay. And then the next step is memory care. And unfortunately, this is a growing area right now because of all this Alzheimer's that's coming up. But memory care is probably more like 6 to 9,000 a month. It's just more because it's secure. And it's more care. There's more caregivers there. You need help, constant reminders where you need to go, what you need to be doing, and all that. So, and that's and to a nursing home, which is our next level, private pay nursing home, 10,000 and up. I mean, we got people paying 13 grand a month
Yep.
for for 24/7. And you got to think of a nursing home as a mini hospital, 24/7 care.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nope, I agree.
Constant care. Now, our AFC, our adult foster care, we also call it residential care home, to me personally is a great equivalent to a nursing home.
Okay.
So when you think nursing home at 13,000, 10,000, 24/7 care, and they're like, I don't want to go to a nursing home. I'm just going to say this. There are some good nursing homes, but what I want to say is this residential care, we have a ton of them in our database right now. 6 bedrooms in a house with 2 caregivers, and they've opened up their home and they have people living there 24/7. So if you think about it, if you only have 6 people in a house and someone's like, hey, I need help, you get help because
Right.
they
Yeah.
hear you and they just walk over and they're like, "Oh, then we gotta go help this guy." When
Yeah.
you're in a nursing home and there's 200 people and you're yelling for help or pushing the button and they're not coming, well, there's 200 people. So I believe, this is just my opinion, these residential care homes, if you need a nursing home level of care, you should actually consider these homes. And we have a whole database full of these homes. We check them out online. We do background checks and we know everything about these places. You got to be careful because in some states they don't need to be licensed by the state.
Oh.
So people are just opening up
Yeah,
random. And
just
I don't know about you, but I want to be in one that's licensed by the state of Michigan.
I would say so, yes.
Just saying.
Yes.
So you got to be careful, and that's why you need an expert, and that's what we do. So, and that price point, really quick, is probably between 5 and 6,000.
Okay.
So you go into a nursing home for 10, 13,000, or you go into a residential care home. I mean, why I'd rather spend 5,500 or
Sure.
65
Yeah.
Sure.
and have that kind of care, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my mom has to have full-time care, and she's been there almost 3 years, and it's $11,000 a month. And so, long-term care is really expensive, and that's why Albert has strategies to help people prepare for that.
Yes.
But if there are options, it's great to know. A lot of people don't know about all the options.
They don't. And you know what's funny too is they also don't understand what the activities daily living is too. So when
Right.
you just talked about, if you can't transfer yourself from your bed to the room, that's an activity limit. You can't do your hygiene,
Toileting.
toileting, all
Yeah.
that stuff, eating. People need to understand that just because your mom or dad fell doesn't mean they need to all of a sudden go into a facility because they fractured their hip or something. They really need to understand the activities of daily living and what they can really be doing with that. If they're not able to perform at least 2 out of the 6, now we have a situation, at least in my opinion. What do you think about that?
Agreed. And for the children out there that are doing this stuff for their parents, if you're doing their activities of daily living,
Yes.
that's the first sign that you need to make a
Yeah.
change,
Yes.
right? If you
Yes.
have to bring food every night, you got to set up their meds every day, you got to get them dressed up. I mean, this is a problem.
It definitely is. And here's the other problem. Huh. You're now the child and your parent is, let's just say declining and you want everything best for them. And so now you're there every day and you're doing everything to help them. I've got clients like this where they can't even take a vacation, can't take a break, nothing. Every day they have to be there morning, afternoon, and night. And here's what's so sad is that a lot of the individuals that are in these facilities, they feel like they're a burden to their children and they don't want all their children to do all that. But then the children believe this is my parents. I'll do whatever I need to make sure that they're taken care of. And a lot of times it's not about saving the money or anything. It's about just I should be there. I should be there every day doing it.
Mhm.
But once you do it for after 6 months, even
There's
3 months, you realize, holy cow, there's a
there's a
lot
real
more.
thing. There's a real thing called caregiver burnout, and it's so real. And most people don't even realize that
Hmm.
they have caregiver burnout.
Hmm.
So I want to say this to the what you just said, respite care, short-term respite care. I had a couple that wanted to go on a vacation so bad their mom lived in their home. Honorable, love it. If you can do it, do it. They just wanted a vacation. So they're like, what are we going to do with mom for 2 weeks? So we found a respite, a short term stay in a community. She ended up moving in for 2 weeks. It's like a bed and breakfast. You pack your stuff, you bring your toiletries,
Hmm.
you move in, they care for you, you're eating, everything's fine. They went off for 2 weeks to Europe, came back, and guess what? Mom didn't want to move. She wanted to stay there.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not even she was having the she's like, "This is way more fun than, sitting home with my daughter and her husband." I mean, so this is the stuff though, you
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
know until you try it, and respite is a great answer for someone who needs a break. Anyone listening to the program right now who is just banging their head against the wall, exhausted
Yeah.
for all the things that they're doing, it means that you have caregiver burnout and you need
Wow.
a respite break.
I
Yeah.
think that's magnificent. I've didn't know there was services like that for temporary,
Right.
and a lot of you folks. I mean, seriously, I've seen it with a lot of you clients that are taking care of your mom and dad and just really being burnt out. I would say this, Wendy, share how they can get a hold of you guys and the
Yes.
next step for seniors if they need to take that next venture to say, okay, let's get a real analysis. Let's figure out what mom and dad really need.
Mhm.
Please
Thank
tell my
you.
listeners how they can get a
Yes.
hold of you.
So a couple ways. First, we're very personalized, as you can tell. We're hands and feet. We want
Mhm.
to meet with people. We want to talk to people face to face if we can do that. So the phone is the best way, I feel like.
Okay.
And that number is 248-651-5010. And that phone is answered 24/7. If we are not in the office, our office is in Rochester, corporate office is in Rochester, Michigan. And we also have Florida location, just
Oh,
so
very
anybody
nice.
anybody who's a snowbird and goes back and forth. But yes, that phone is answered, and then at night we have a service that will answer live as well. So we want you to know that we are a personalized service. There's no AI, there's no, leave a message. There is a live person every time you call. Our office, you can come into our office in Rochester. We're off of Livernois and Walton Boulevard. And we love to sit down in our conference room and hold your hand and talk through these things.
Yeah.
So we're very personalized. We also have a website, and that's Next Steps with an S, the number four steps, because there's numerous steps,
Mhm.
the number four seniors.com. And that website, there is a submission form. You can also fill out and submit information. If it's the middle of the night and you don't want to call, you can fill out the submission form and someone will get back with you first thing in the morning. So those are the best ways to reach us. We are available through hospital systems as well, electronically. Your social worker, if you say, hey, I'd like Next Steps for Seniors to help me, they can contact us and we can come
Oh,
in and meet with you
wonderful.
in the hospital.
Wonderful.
Yep. So we appreciate, any opportunity. I say if you're questioning it, call.
Yeah.
You have nothing
Nothing to
you have
lose.
nothing to lose and
Right.
everything to gain. Why not just call and say, "Here's what I'm looking for,"
Yep.
or "Can you help me with this?" I mean, people call and ask for transportation companies. I
Mhm.
mean, we are a hub. We have all this knowledge and information, and we just want to share it with as many people as we can to make your lives easier.
Right.
It's about you. We want to care for you, and that's what the team is here for. And they're fantastic. We've got social workers, nurses on staff, many people who just have a passion
Nice.
for our elderly, and we respect and honor them.
Totally appreciate what you do, Wendy, here. Seriously, I think this is fantastic for anyone to just have that idea to say, you know what, we need to help these folks. And more than just, let's find a place for them, let's educate them, let's show them what other options are there, let's make their life more fulfilled. And to be honest, rewarding like it should be. They should finish strong
Finish
in
strong.
everything they do. That's what I believe in. So I think that is so
Thank
fantastic of
you.
you guys and what you guys do. Give your number one more time, please, for the
Yes,
listeners.
yes. And I also would like to just share our pillars are to educate families, which is what we're doing here. And I also do have a podcast.
Yes.
If anybody
Share that as
wanted
well.
to,
Yes.
on your cell phone, just go to your little search button and put in podcast, and you'll type in next steps number 4 seniors, and
Nice.
it's conversations on aging.
Love it.
And then educate families, promote independence. We talked about always, being as independent as possible, and really advocating for seniors. Those are
Mhm.
our 3 pillars. Our phone number again is 248-651-5010. Thank you so much for
Wonderful. You're
having me
so
on the
welcome.
program.
Thank you for being here. Tony, any last questions you have for Wendy?
No, I think this is great. What a great service, Wendy, that you provide to people here in the community. I think it's fantastic. I hope our listeners will get a hold of you. It's such a great resource for seniors out there. And
Yes,
thank you, Albert, for having Wendy on the show today. That's a
of course.
huge get. Wendy Jones, great guest today. And listeners, that does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.